is 104.8 Channel 4, Faris and Georgina. And as promised, we do have a special guest in the studio.
Yes, we want to welcome onto Channel 4 Breakfast this morning Christina Burmeister, who is a psychologist at Faye Health Central, or One Central. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. First of all, just tell us a little bit about what you do and maybe what you specialise in.
Okay, so I'm a psychologist and I do a lot of talk therapy. And I kind of specialize in all adults, first of all, and anyone who's struggling with depression or anxiety or relationship problems or just problems in general, work problems, problems with colleagues, bosses, everyone.
Now, Christina, one of the reasons you're here is because you heard us talking about narcissists versus echoists.
I did.
Can you just touch upon quickly what the difference between the two of them are?
So echoist, it's actually from Greek mythology, and you had Narcissus, who is the guy that died because he fell in love with his reflection in a lake, and then there's Echo, who is a nymph, who also fell in love with him. However, she was cursed, and so she was only allowed to echo what people said to her. So in the end, echoists are basically the opposite of narcissists. So where narcissists are very high on the selfish end of things, echoists tend to want to be, well, they're more like people pleasers.
They see other people as better than them on a pedestal.
And they don't want to come across as narcissists at all. So they end up sometimes over-giving and giving up themselves a lot in order to make other people happy.
Now, there's a lot of chat at the moment about narcissists. It's a word that has become a part of everybody's life recently, I feel. What exactly is a narcissist? How can we sort of spot their behaviour and maybe personality traits?
So basically, we have to be really careful because there is the official diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder, and then there are a bunch of traits that make up a narcissist. And so a lot of people tend to have narcissistic traits. However, that doesn't make them a narcissist. So I worry a little bit about the fact that everyone's throwing around the term.
Yeah,
he's a narcissist,
they just mean someone that thinks highly of themselves, but it actually is a condition, isn't it?
It's more than that. So it's somebody who thinks very high. Well, they don't necessarily think highly of themselves, but they act like they think highly of themselves. So they have the grandiosity, the entitlement. They tend to be very selfish, and they tend to be very low on empathy, aka being able to put themselves in someone else's position and feel what the other person is feeling.
What causes that though? What is it? Insecurities? Is it the way that they've been maybe, I don't know, brought up as a kid? Why do you feel like you need to put other people down or not realise how other people may be feeling?
So yes, it's probably rooted in childhood. However, some of the research says that you have to have a genetic disposition in order for it to manifest depending on how you're raised. But yes, at the base of it, there is a strong feeling of insecurity. However, a narcissist does a very good job at cutting themselves off from that sense of insecurity so they don't actually realize what they're doing. And so I feel like a lot of times people are pointing the finger, acting like a narcissist is doing these things on purpose. However, generally I find that most narcissists that I've encountered don't actually know that what they're doing is narcissistic.
And echoist, is that an actual condition as well? Is there an echoist disorder, or is it just sort of a reactionary term?
It's kind of a reactionary term more. It's just kind of, as we navigate human beings, we're just more and more trying to put people into little boxes, and echoism is one of those boxes.
So if it's a genetic disorder, partly genetic to be have narcissistic personality disorder, does that mean it can't be fixed, or sort of through your kind of therapy, do you teach people how to cope with it? You can still have the thoughts, but you need to realize that they're part of your disorder.
I think the biggest part is for a narcissist to realize that they are, or someone with narcissistic traits, realize that they have narcissistic traits that are causing pain to others. And oftentimes they don't really care, right?
Yeah.
If you do have narcissistic traits and you do realise that you have that about you, can you change?
Yes, I think that you can.
And it's sort of a mental thing. You have to think, okay, before you maybe say something or before you might say something towards somebody else, you've got to think, okay, I need to stop. Is it something that you do within yourself to hold back?
So I think that if narcissists recognize, or people that have narcissistic traits recognize that they have these traits, then, and if they want to fix those traits because they genuinely care maybe about someone else, which doesn't happen often, then they can learn empathy. And they can learn to kind of recognize reactions in other people, and they can learn when they're hurting someone. But the first step to that is actually acknowledging the fact that it's not the other people that have to change, but it's the person with narcissistic traits that has to change.
Well,
when we catch up next, we're going to be talking to Christina about therapy, the sessions that you can provide, Christina, and a little bit about relationships as well and how to make them better. Continuing with the narcissist sort of topic, if, Christina, you do realise that you have got narcissistic traits, when do you sort of realise that you should go to therapy? What sort of people should be going to therapy?
Everybody should be going to therapy.
Yeah,
Amen.
definitely.
Therapy is wonderful. It's a great thing.
I mean, I do go to therapy, and I've been telling Georgina to do it. She hasn't done. Have you done it yet?
I haven't, no.
All right.
No,
No,
Come
because-
and see me anytime.
yeah, no, I will
Haven't
do.
you? Because my therapist, she probably shouldn't have said this, but she was like, "Oh, thank you so much for the recommendation." And I recommended her to a few people, and I was like, "Oh, who was it?" She's like, "I can't tell you that."
No.
So now I'm trying to figure out. Was it you? Wasn't you?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
I've not reached out
I
just
wonder
yet.
who it is. Anyway.
But I think it is important to actually understand. Like, I don't know what happens in a therapy session, Christina. What's the experience like?
It depends, I guess, on everybody, right? And
Yeah.
I'm kind of an eclectic counselor, so I will tailor my approach to the person themselves, because not every theory is a good fit for a person. But generally, it's just, I mean, especially my office, it's a new office, it's gorgeous, it's really cozy, and people just sit on a couch and it's their safe space and they can talk about whatever they want to talk about. And some people just come to unload. Some people come to actually try and change things because they're like, I've been doing this for a long time and it's not working for me, relationships, work-wise, whatever. And so then we kind of look at why they have the patterns that they have, and we try to find new ways of dealing with situations.
This city or this country is one of the ones where a lot of amazing things about it, but I think there is a culture of throwing money at a problem and it'll go away. So do you get people who are like, I'm paying you to fix me, but I'm not willing to talk about the stuff that I need to talk about? Do you get people who you have to sort of pry open to get them to open up, even though they've paid to be there?
I mean, no, generally when they come to see me, it's because they want to open up. If
That's
somebody
great.
wanted to throw money at something, that sounds wrong. I mean, there is always psychiatry, and psychiatry tends to be seen as
Medicinal.
Exactly. It's a bit of a quicker fix for people that don't necessarily want to dig so deep and want to deal with kind of more of the symptoms of what they're going through. Then they can go to psychiatry, which is amazing, by the way.
Yeah. Christina, how should you choose your therapist? How do you know sort of what sort of person to go to? I'm sure you do an amazing job yourself, but then how do you actually know whether it's the right person to let out to?
I think it's really important to meet several counselors and to then kind of find the one that you have the most connection with, because it is a very personal experience and you want to do it with someone that you trust and that you kind of feel comfortable opening up to.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think when it comes to sort of a place like this, very multicultural, lots of different cultures around the world, people have specific problems with their own cultures. Do you think it's better to go with a therapist that is also from that culture or from the same religion or from the same background, or is it better to get a sort of outsider's view to it?
Again, this kind of is a very personal decision. Some people have come to me because I'm of a different culture, and some people want to go to someone who understands their culture, their religion from the inside, not just learned. Because I've been here for 16 years, so
Yeah.
I know a little bit about different cultures. However, it's very much person-specific who you end up feeling comfortable with.
And Christina, you said one of your favourite topics to help people with as well is relationships. What kind of relationship advice or what do you go through? When we say, I need help with my relationship, what do people sort of mean?
Generally, it's just that in the beginning of a relationship, everything is perfect and everyone is happy and they've all got on the rose-colored glasses. And then sometime, usually like 6 months, 1 year into the relationship, when people start letting down their I'm so perfect guard, that kind of the darker sides of people kind of tend to come out, and oftentimes couples can trigger each other with these darker sides that they've been hiding up until now. And so people will sometimes come in and deal with their situations with me, and I just kind of help them communicate better.
Yeah. Do you think love language plays a massive part in compatibility in relationships, or is that just a thing on the internet, that test that you can do? Should we actually go by these love languages?
So I love the love languages test, and I actually have most of my couples do it. It's more of a tool than it is kind of like a across all boards rule. And so I like people to use it because it helps them understand themselves and it helps them understand their partner better. And when you know somebody else's love language and your way of expressing love is different than their way of receiving love, then oftentimes the love kind of gets lost in translation, if you so will.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we've done the test. What's yours, Georgina?
So mine is words of affirmation. I love to have really nice, positive conversations. That's really attractive for me. And also quality time. I think quality time is my number one.
Do you like words of affirmation? Because you don't take compliments very well.
I think
I'll be like, oh, you look nice today. It's like, no, I don't. I look horrible. My hair's all greasy.
Yeah, I feel like quality time and good conversation, not necessarily just throwing compliments at me, but I find it attractive to get deep in conversations, not just compliments, but actually having like substance to a conversation. I find that really attractive.
Yeah, I like quality time is mine, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah.
And Christina, if our listeners want to come to you, if they want your advice, if they want a session with you, where can they go to find you?
They can message me on that. It's
Yeah.
Christina.the.counselor.
Amazing. And we'll be posting a little bit about Christina and our chats on the Channel 4 Instagram as well, at Channel 4 Dubai. If you want to get in touch with Christina, we'll tag her on there as well.
Christina, thank you so much for coming in and have an amazing rest of your day.
Thank you, Christina.
Same to you guys. Thank you so much.